And Tom Burke became a successful businessman and collected a lot of this artwork and started Pomegranate Press, and he's off in the stratosphere nowadays.
We found about his posters, because he did about 6 of Alex's pieces, and we found that, the paper that he used, it was done for college students, and they would maybe last one time putting them up on the wall. By the end of the year, they would look so tattered and so bad, but they looked good. But it was such flimsy paper that, like, when we were trying to send them out to people, they would often come back to us dinged because it was so hard to, like, really roll it without hurting them. So after a while, we stopped working with them and made our own posters. We always make them with heavier paper to last longer. But his idea was to sell a lot of posters, and he did a beautiful job, and really exposed a lot of the visionary artists early on. He kind of took on the psychedelic art scene a little bit. And did you ever have a pomegranate poster? Did you interact with Tom Burke eventually?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I went down and where his business office was, and it was filled with all this wonderful art, of course, and had a chat with him, and he's like, well, you're 17 or whatever, come back when you got something you can, in color that's suitable. A couple years later, I did. I came back with we actually raised the money to do some color lithograph printing, which back then was a very expensive proposition. And we printed up a bunch of posters, and I took a stack in there to him, and he bought 1,000 posters from me.
Wow.
So, and I gave him a good price and all. I didn't make a lot of money, but it got out there.
Yeah, no, that was what
But he didn't ever call me back or ask for another one or anything.
He was really good at distribution. He was very, very...
But it let me know I could do it and stuff.
That's amazing. Wow. But what we want to do, obviously, and I think some of you already know this, with Entheon, it's the temple that we're building, over in this property, and our, intention is to show those originals, those ones that are hiding in the studio. Do you have that, Mark? Do you have originals of some of your greatest work that you never sold?
I have most of my originals.
Yeah, you see?
I've sold some, but I have a
So what we're looking for is the
originals.
best of those where we would borrow them, like a real museum would, and you exhibit them. Like the American Visionary Art Museum has one-year exhibitions, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be, because to have too many of them is very expensive. And we're going to ship them nicely and insure them and acclimatize space with cameras and all that, and we're going to show the originals, have a place where originals can be seen, and the show will rotate annually. So we'll see. The first one will be this time next year. We'll open the Magi Gallery. Magi is COSM's educational nexus. It stands for the Mystic Artists Guild International. We went between international and institute, but I think that we decide international, because it is. We want interdimensional. Right.
Well, we also had our little homegrown art movement over on the West Coast, the Interdimensional Art Movement Unified. I am you.
Yes.
And it's still around in remnants and bits and pieces. We're still active.
But that's what the Magi Gallery would be all about. So we want the big, we're looking for really the iconic works of this genre, and I think that's going to be exciting. Do we want to? Did you have a question? Because
I felt like how the issues of love and social concern were naturally welded in your work and could show what I think of as access to a wider and more spiritualized identity, because you're able to kind of show compassionately what's happening while pointing to the light. And I think that that's a matter of dialing your soul, dialing into your identity. I mean, do you, when you present these more difficult subjects, do you feel kind of like morally, required in a sense to show how it could be and a possibility of a higher possibility?
Well, anybody can be critical, you know, and tear something down and criticize it and find the faults and the bad sides of things. But if you don't offer an alternative, what good is that?
Right.
If you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna say, well, that's not really a good thing you're doing there, that doesn't really do anything other than make somebody mad because you're upset because they're doing it. If you say, well, that you could find a better way to do what you're trying to do here. Let me make a few suggestions that maybe will help you get where you want to go. So it's kind of like that. I want to critique the bad, less wholesome aspects of our culture, but I want to offer a vision of something positive in the place of the things I don't like, because otherwise you're just cutting it down rather than showing another reality, how things could be. So part of our job as artists is to visualize the good stuff we could have and, you know, give people a vision, literally, of how things could be. So that they'll be inspired to act on it and do something to make it really happen, because you can't do it all yourself. So part of my project, of course, is to create some positive social change. And so that's my motivation, is to, besides, you know, freaking people out with the bad stuff, and I do like, you know, shock has its value, you know, and you want to bash people over the head with reality, but after they're walking around in a daze, you want to show them, you know, where some relief is and where the good stuff is, so they can go jump on that. So I'd like to try to, you know, do a little of both, you know, show the bad stuff and then offer, well, here's what we could do instead, folks. Doesn't this seem like a better alternative? Let's get on it.
I noticed that about your show, of your work, which is that, not always, absolutely, you know, but a good number of pieces that you do are a divided canvas. It's like, it's sort of like there's an alternative. It's like there's this side, and then there's this side. You've done a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I like to show both sides of the situation.
That's right.
You know, it's the yin and yang of things. That's kind of, you know, part of my philosophy is, you know, that life is a balance of this and that. And so if I'm going to show this, then I'm going to want to show that. And if this isn't so good, I'm going to make sure that the that is really appealing. So you can, you know, choose from a pile of shit or a chocolate cake. Take your pick, you know.
I think that's one of the stylistic characteristics of your art that appears and reappears. It's just interesting that you believe that, you feel that, you're teaching people, you're expressing like a message.
Well, I'm really blessed in that people do sometimes, even though they maybe do it without my permission, appropriate my images for use on their Facebook page or on their website. Sometimes they ask, sometimes they don't.